The message arrived on a quiet Tuesday morning, transmitted simultaneously to every major communication hub on Earth. The Galactic Concordat, a coalition of 17 spacefaring civilizations, had declared humanity's rapid expansion into space a destabilizing influence on local stellar politics. Their demand was simple: immediate technological oversight and restricted colonization rights, or face the consequences. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of Lunar Command, her weathered face illuminated by Earth's gentle glow. Behind her, the war room buzzed with activity as analysts pored over the message and the accompanying scan data of the Concordat's fleet. Over 3,000 vessels holding position just beyond the Kuiper Belt. "They expect us to be impressed," she said, more to herself than to her aide, Lieutenant James Foster, who stood nearby with a datapad. 3,000 ships of various classifications, fusion drives, particle beam weapons, and what they consider advanced shield technology. "The Security Council is convening in 10 minutes. Admiral Foster reported, his dark eyes scanning the incoming updates. "They're requesting your presence and recommendation." Chen turned from the viewport, a slight smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "Tell me, Lieutenant, what do you see when you look at that fleet?" Foster frowned, studying the holographic display. "Overwhelming force, ma'am. Even with our defensive capabilities. The sheer numbers." "I see fear," Chen interrupted softly. "Look at their formation. Look at how they've positioned themselves. They're not here to fight. They're here to intimidate. They've heard rumors about Project Nightshade, and they're terrified we'll complete it before they can stop us." The Security Council chamber was surprisingly calm when Chen arrived. Representatives from Earth's United Nations sat around the circular table, their faces illuminated by the holographic display of the Concordat fleet floating above the center. Admiral Chen, Secretary General Patil, nodded in greeting. "Your assessment?" "We respond with one ship," Chen said without preamble. The chamber erupted in murmurs. "One ship?" The Chinese representative leaned forward. "Admiral, perhaps the stress off." "One ship," Chen repeated firmly. "The Nightshade. It's ready." The room fell silent. Project Nightshade had consumed nearly 30% of Earth's combined research budget for the past decade. A vessel that didn't just push the boundaries of known physics, it rewrote them entirely. "The Concordat's message reveals more than they intended," Chen continued. "Their technological analysis of our visible capabilities is accurate, but dated. They don't know about the quantum fold drive. They don't know about the dark energy matrix. Most importantly, they don't know that we've achieved consciousness transfer technology. And you believe one ship, even the Nightshade, can stand against their fleet?" The Russian representative's voice was skeptical. Chen's smile returned, harder this time. "We don't need to stand against them. We just need to show them why threatening humanity was their worst mistake." The vote was unanimous. Within hours, Earth's response was transmitted to the Concordat fleet, a simple acceptance of their invitation to discuss the matter in person. They would send a single diplomatic vessel. The Nightshade emerged from its hidden dock within Saturn's rings, its hull seeming to drink in the light rather than reflect it. At its helm, Captain Maya Patil, handpicked by Chen herself, felt the ship's systems integrate with her consciousness through the neural interface. The vessel wasn't just a ship, it was an extension of human will, a symphony of technologies that the Concordat's analysts had dismissed as theoretical impossibilities. "Status report," Patil subvocalized, the ship's systems translating her thoughts into commands. "All systems nominal." The AI responded directly into her consciousness. "Quantum fold drive at full capacity. Dark energy matrix stable. Consciousness backup complete." The Nightshade accelerated, but not using conventional drives. Space itself seemed to ripple around the vessel as it moved, the quantum fold drive manipulating the fabric of reality in ways that would have made Einstein both proud and terrified. In the Concordat fleet, alarms began to sound. Their sensors, designed to detect any known form of propulsion or energy signature, were reporting conflicting data. According to their instruments, the human vessel simultaneously existed in multiple states of reality, its true position impossible to pin down. Let them worry, Patel thought, feeling the ship's agreement through their shared consciousness. Let them wonder what humanity has become while they weren't watching. The nightshade continued its approach, a shadow among shadows, carrying with it humanity's response to those who thought they could be intimidated by mere numbers. The real demonstration was yet to come, and with it, the galaxy would learn why humanity had earned its place among the stars. Behind them, Earth continued its serene rotation, its people going about their daily lives, largely unaware that their fate was being carried into the void by a single ship and its crew. But those who knew, those who understood what the nightshade represented, slept soundly. After all, humanity had never needed numbers to change the course of history. They just needed the right moment, the right tool, and the courage to use them both. High Admiral Kextar of the Concordat fleet watched the approaching human vessel with all four of his primary eyes, mandibles clicking in agitation. The ship defied conventional analysis, its energy signature fluctuating in patterns that shouldn't be possible according to known physics. Maximum magnification, he ordered. The holographic display zoomed in on the vessel, a sleek construct of impossible darkness, its hull seeming to bend light around it. No visible weapons, no apparent shield emitters, not even standard navigation lights. Just smooth, light-absorbing surfaces that resembled liquid night. High Admiral, his science officer, Vertal, approached with a data crystal clutched in her lower appendages. The preliminary scans are disturbing. The vessel appears to exist in a state of quantum superposition. It's as if. Speak plainly. Kextar interrupted, his crystalline exoskeleton reflecting the command center's lights in patterns that conveyed his unease. Sir, according to our instruments, the ship is both there and not there, here and elsewhere. It shouldn't be possible for anything larger than a subatomic particle to maintain such a state, yet they've achieved it with an entire starship. Aboard the Nightshade, Captain Patel felt the curious probes of the Concordat's scanning systems through her neural link with the ship. Each attempt to analyze their vessel was met with quantum uncertainty, their sensors unable to resolve the paradox of the Nightshade's existence. They're preparing to launch fighter squadrons, the AI reported in her mind. Standard containment pattern. They still think in conventional terms of space and warfare. Patel allowed herself a small smile. Let's show them something new. Initiate quantum field expansion, 10% capacity. The space around the Nightshade began to ripple, reality itself seeming to flex and bend. The nearest Concordat fighters suddenly found their quantum probability fields altered, their very existence becoming uncertain. Not enough to harm them, but enough to send their pilots into panic as their ships temporarily phased between states of being. The effect rippled through the first wave of fighters, causing them to break formation as their pilots struggled with the fundamental uncertainty of their position in spacetime. Emergency signals flashed across the Concordat fleet as vessel after vessel reported quantum fluctuations in their drive systems. Impossible. Vertal's voice had risen several octaves. They're manipulating quantum fields at a macroscopic level. The energy requirements alone should be. Open a channel, Kextar ordered, his voice steady despite the growing unease in his thoracic cavity. The humans had clearly been hiding their true technological capabilities, and he needed to understand why. The communication request was accepted immediately. The holographic display shifted to show Captain Patel, sitting calmly in what appeared to be a meditation pose rather than a traditional command chair. Her eyes were closed, neural interface nodes visible at her temples. This is High Admiral Kextar of the Concordat Defense Fleet. Your display of technology is impressive, but it changes nothing. The Concordat's decision regarding Earth's expansion is final. Patel opened her eyes, and Kextar felt his secondary heart skip a beat. There was something different about her gaze, something that suggested she was seeing far more than just his image on a screen. High Admiral, she replied, her voice carrying an unusual harmonic quality, as if multiple versions of herself were speaking simultaneously. "We accepted your invitation to discuss the matter, but perhaps we should clarify something first. Your fleet's presence here isn't a show of force. It's a demonstration of how little you understand what humanity has become." As if to emphasize her point, the Nightshade's quantum field pulsed again, this time causing localized time dilation effects throughout the Concordat fleet. Crew members watched in horror as their chronometers desensed, some running fast, others slow, the very fabric of time becoming uncertain around them. "What you see as aggressive expansion," Paddle continued, "we see as careful restraint. What you interpret as a destabilizing influence is merely the first ripple of a wave you cannot yet comprehend. We didn't send a fleet because we don't need one. The Nightshade isn't a warship, Admiral. It's a conversation starter." Kextar's mandibles clicked rapidly as he processed her words. The implied threat was clear, yet it wasn't delivered with aggression or malice. Instead, he heard something far more terrifying in her voice: absolute certainty. "The Concordat exists to maintain stability in this sector of the galaxy," he responded, trying to regain control of the conversation. "Your technological advancement, while remarkable, doesn't change that mandate." "No," Patel agreed, her image flickering as the Nightshade shifted through quantum states. "But it does change your understanding of what stability means. We're not here to fight, Admiral. We're here to help you understand that the universe is far stranger and more wonderful than your mandate assumes. The question is, are you ready to learn?" As if to punctuate her question, the Nightshade performed what should have been impossible. It existed simultaneously at multiple points around the Concordat fleet, each instance as real as the next, each demonstrating that humanity's grasp of physics had evolved far beyond what the galaxy's eldest civilizations had thought possible. The message was clear. The Concordat hadn't come to contain a primitive species pushing beyond its bounds. They had come face to face with something far more profound. Humanity's first steps into a realm of science that bordered on the mystical, and their old understanding of reality would never be quite the same. First speaker Zell Nax of the Concordat High Council had seen many things in his 3 centuries of life, but the quantum state recordings from High Admiral Kextar's fleet left him speechless. The human vessel's capabilities defied explanation. And worse, they defied control. The emergency session of the High Council had stretched into its 4th cycle, the chamber's atmospheric processors struggling to keep up with the agitated pheromones being released by 17 species worth of anxious representatives. "This changes nothing," Marshal Overseer Drenkar growled, his armored carapace scraping against the ancient stone seat. "One ship, no matter how advanced, cannot stand against the combined might of the Concordat. We should strike now, before they can produce more of these vessels." In the vast space above the Kuiper Belt, the Nightshade remained in its quantum superposition, simultaneously present at multiple points around the Concordat fleet. Captain Patel, deep in neural synchronization with her ship, perceived reality in ways her ancestors would have considered godlike. Through the quantum field, she sensed the agitation rippling through the alien fleet. More importantly, she detected the subtle power buildups in their weapon systems. The Concordat was preparing to attack, their pride overwhelming their reason. "They're afraid," the AI noted in her mind. "Fear and pride are combining to create a dangerous probability matrix." Patel nodded internally. "Prepare the dark energy demonstration. Let's show them why attacking would be unwise." In the Concordat flagship, High Admiral Kextar received the attack authorization from the High Council with a mixture of relief and apprehension. Finally, action would replace this maddening uncertainty. "All vessels, battle formation Delta," he commanded. "Target the human vessel with temporal correlation torpedoes. If it exists in multiple states, we'll collapse its quantum field and force it into a single reality." 3,000 ships moved with practiced precision, their formation creating a 3-dimensional matrix of overlapping fields of fire. It was a display of coordination that had cowed countless species into submission over the millennia. "Sir," Vertol interrupted, her sensor appendages trembling. The human vessel. It's doing something with dark energy. Before Kekstar could respond, space itself seemed to flex. The carefully coordinated Concordat fleet found their formation disrupted as localized pockets of spacetime expanded and contracted around them. Ships that had been kilometers apart suddenly found themselves separated by light years of stretched space, while others were brought uncomfortably close together. Impossible, Vertol whispered. They're manipulating the expansion of space itself. The energy requirements would be fire, Kekstar ordered, his voice carrying an edge of desperation. All ships, fire at will. Thousands of temporal correlation torpedoes launched simultaneously, their quantum-entangled warheads designed to force their target into a single quantum state. They streaked across the violated space between the fleet and their target, only to pass through empty void as the nightshade shifted not just its position, but its temporal location. Warning shots incoming. The AI informed Patel. Non-lethal demonstration authorized. Confirmed, Patel responded. Show them what happens when you truly understand dark energy. The Nightshade's response was elegant in its simplicity. Instead of dodging or returning fire, it created a localized bubble of accelerated space expansion. The torpedoes found themselves trapped in a region where space itself was expanding faster than light could travel. Their energy dissipated harmlessly as they were stretched across light years of newly created space. Artillery ships, prepare antimatter cascades, Kekstar commanded, but his words were cut short as the Nightshade demonstrated its true capabilities. The quantum field surrounding the human vessel expanded dramatically, enveloping the entire Concordat fleet. Every ship suddenly existed in a state of quantum superposition, their very reality becoming uncertain. Crew members watched in horror as their solid metal bulkheads became simultaneously solid and transparent, their ship both whole and atomized. We can maintain this field indefinitely. Patel's voice echoed through every ship's communication system. Your vessels will remain in quantum uncertainty until you understand that this demonstration isn't about power, it's about perspective. In the High Council chamber, the recordings of these events caused unprecedented chaos. The Concordat's most advanced sensors showed what should have been impossible: an entire battle fleet held in quantum suspension by a single vessel. The humans, first speaker Zelmax finally spoke, his voice cutting through the pandemonium, are not showing us their weapons. They are showing us our ignorance. And we, in our pride, have failed to recognize the difference. Through her quantum-enhanced perception, Patel sensed the shift in the Concordat's collective consciousness. Fear was giving way to something else: awe. The realization that the universe was far more mutable, far more magnificent than they had imagined was beginning to sink in. Your fleet will be released from the quantum field momentarily, she broadcast. Consider this a reminder. Humanity's expansion into space isn't a threat to stability. It's an invitation to explore realities you never knew existed. The question is no longer whether you'll allow us to continue our research. The question is, are you ready to learn with us? As the quantum field surrounding the Concordat fleet dissipated, a profound silence fell across 3,000 ships. The crew members, from 17 different species, found themselves grappling with a fundamental shift in their understanding of reality. Their most advanced weapons had been rendered meaningless not through superior firepower, but through humanity's deeper comprehension of the universe itself. In the Concordat flagship's command center, High Admiral Kekstar watched the Nightshade with newfound respect. The vessel hung in space like a tear in reality, its quantum state now stable but no less impressive. His tactical display showed the aftermath of their failed attack. Weapons systems drained, navigation computers struggling to re-establish their position in normal spacetime, and entire squadrons of ships displaced across unprecedented distances. High Admiral Vertel approached, her usual scientific detachment shattered by what she'd witnessed. Initial analysis suggests they didn't just manipulate spacetime. They rewrote it. The laws of physics themselves bent to their will. Before Kextar could respond, a new transmission cut across all frequencies. This time, it wasn't Captain Patel's voice, but Admiral Chen's, speaking from Earth. Honored representatives of the Concordat. Her voice carried an authority that transcended species. You came here believing you needed to contain humanity's expansion. What you've witnessed today isn't a display of military might. It's a glimpse of what's possible when we stop thinking in terms of containment and start thinking in terms of potential. The nightshade shifted, its hull rippling with patterns that seemed to echo through multiple dimensions. Within its quantum-enhanced systems, Captain Patel interfaced with the ship's AI to initiate the final demonstration. We're detecting massive energy buildups in the human vessel, Vertel reported, her sensor arrays struggling to process the readings. But it's not weapon-grade energy. It's like they're creating a window. Space split open before the assembled fleet, not in the violent manner of a conventional dimensional breach, but with the elegant precision of a surgeon's scalpel. Through the opening, the Concordat witnessed something that had been theorized but never achieved. A controlled view of parallel realities, each one showing a different possibility, a different path of evolution and technological development. Your civilizations have explored the stars, Chen continued, but you've only scratched the surface of what's possible. The universe isn't just three-dimensional space waiting to be carved into territories. It's an infinite canvas of possibilities, each one offering new insights, new ways of understanding existence itself. The nightshade moved through the display of parallel realities with fluid grace, demonstrating humanity's mastery over not just space and time, but probability itself. In each reality, the laws of physics showed subtle variations, yet the human vessel navigated them all with equal ease. In the High Council chamber, First Speaker Zell Max watched the transmissions with growing comprehension. They're not just showing us technology, he said, his voice hushed. They're showing us evolution. The next step in understanding the cosmos. The parallel reality display closed as smoothly as it had opened, but its impact resonated through the consciousness of every being who had witnessed it. The Concordat's mighty fleet, assembled to contain what they had perceived as a primitive species' dangerous expansion, now seemed like children's toys compared to what humanity had achieved. Your civilizations have spent millennia building empires among the stars. Chen's voice held no mockery, only invitation. We spent that time looking deeper, understanding the fundamental nature of reality itself. The nightshade isn't a warship. It's a key, unlocking doors you never knew existed. Captain Patel, still merged with her ship's consciousness, sensed the ripples of change flowing through the quantum field. Fear had given way to wonder, pride to humility, and aggression to curiosity. The Concordat fleet's weapon systems powered down one by one, not in surrender, but in recognition that they had witnessed something that transcended ordinary concepts of warfare and dominance. This is why we came with one ship, Patel added, her voice carrying the harmonics of multiple quantum states. Not to fight, not to threaten, but to show you that the universe is far more magnificent than any of us imagined. The question isn't whether humanity should be contained. The question is, how much more could we all achieve if we explore these new frontiers together? The nightshade's hull shimmered, its quantum state stabilizing into something that the Concordat sensors could finally process. Though the readings still defied conventional physics, it was a gesture of openness, a demonstration that humanity was willing to share at least some of their understanding with those who were ready to learn. 3 days after the Nightshade's demonstration, the Grand Assembly Chamber of the Concordat Station hummed with an energy unlike anything in its centuries-long history. Representatives from all 17 member species gathered not to contain a threat, but to witness what many were already calling the dawn of a new era in galactic civilization. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the speaker's podium, her presence commanding despite the array of exotic alien physiologies surrounding her. The nightshade hung visible through the chamber's vast observation dome, its dark hull now a symbol not of fear, but of possibility. For millennia, Chen began, her voice carrying to every corner of the chamber. Civilizations have measured their progress by how far they could reach into space, how many worlds they could claim, how large their fleets could grow. Humanity chose a different path. We looked inward, seeking to understand the fundamental nature of reality itself. In his elevated position, first speaker Zell Max's crystalline form caught the light of distant stars as he listened. The past 3 days had seen the Concordat's most brilliant minds beginning to grasp the implications of what humanity had achieved. Their understanding of physics, once thought nearly complete, now seemed like a child's first steps. The nightshade represents not just technological advancement, Chen continued, but a fundamental shift in how we interact with the universe. The quantum drive, the dark energy matrix, the consciousness integration system. These aren't weapons to be feared, but tools to be understood. Tools that could benefit all species ready to embrace a broader view of reality. Captain Patel, standing to the side of the podium, remained connected to the nightshade through her neural interface. Through it, she sensed the quantum possibilities spiraling out from this moment. Countless futures branching and recombining as the galaxies stood on the brink of transformation. "We propose a new kind of alliance," Chen announced, activating a holographic display that filled the chamber center. Not based on territory or military might, but on the pursuit of knowledge. The quantum technologies we've developed are just the beginning. There are deeper layers of reality waiting to be explored, mysteries that will require the combined insights of all our civilizations to unravel. The hologram showed a structure unlike anything the Concordat had seen before, a massive research facility that existed partially in quantum superposition, designed to allow scientists from all species to study and develop these new technologies together. The facility will be called the Nexus, Chen explained, a place where the boundaries between possible and impossible blur, where we can learn from each other and push the frontiers of understanding beyond anything we could achieve alone. High Admiral Kextar, now standing among the civilian leadership, felt his mandibles click in appreciation. The humans had transformed what could have been a devastating conflict into an opportunity for unprecedented advancement. His military mind, once focused on containment and control, now saw the strategic brilliance of their approach. "But this is more than just a research initiative," Chen continued. "It's an acknowledgement that the universe is stranger and more wonderful than any of us imagined. The nightshade showed you a glimpse of what's possible when we transcend our limitations. Imagine what we could achieve together." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of approval expressed in 17 different biological ways. The fear that had driven the Concordat to assemble its fleet had been replaced by something far more powerful: hope. First speaker Zell Max rose, his crystalline form refracting light in patterns that conveyed deep emotion. "Humanity has shown us that we have been swimming in the shallows while an ocean of possibility waited unexplored. The Concordat accepts your proposal, Admiral Chen. Let this day mark not the containment of humanity, but the liberation of all our species from the constraints of our former understanding." As the formal agreements were drawn up, and the plans for the Nexus began to take shape, Captain Patel stood at the Nightshade's viewport, watching the Concordat fleet begin its peaceful withdrawal. Through her neural link, she felt the ship's eye processing the quantum probabilities of their success. "The future is uncertain," the AI noted in her mind, "but the possibilities are beautiful." Patel smiled. Humanity had come to the stars not to conquer or to fight, but to understand. In doing so, they had achieved something far greater than military victory. They had opened the door to a future where the combined wisdom of 18 species could unlock the deepest mysteries of existence itself. As the Nightshade prepared for its return journey to Earth, its quantum field rippled one last time, a reminder to all who witnessed it that the universe was far more magnificent than anyone had dreamed, and the greatest adventures still lay ahead.